Hi, welcome to Jimmy's Records and Tapes. I'm Jimmy Pardo, and this is 1982.
We've got it on vinyl, CD and cassette.
We've got pop, rock, heavy metal, punk, funk, rap, and new wave. All sales are final, but you never regret all the music you get at Jimmy's Records and Tapes.
I'm loving music again. Hey everybody, welcome to Jimmy's Records and Tapes. We're talking about 1982. What's going on in the world? Well, the Weather Channel debuts, as does Late Night with David Letterman. So that's some television viewing for you. You want to see what's going on outside while you're enjoying the humor of David Letterman. In Chicago, and now you imagine the whole country was affected by this, the Tylenol cyanide poisoning took place where 7 people died because some guy tampered with the packaging, which has changed the way that they now package Tylenol. But you can still buy guns. What does your money get you in 1982? Well, a gallon of gasoline is 91 cents. A house is $82,200. And you can buy a loaf of bread for 50 cents. Now, I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know if that's a good price. I don't know if it's a bad price. I don't remember the last time I had to buy a loaf of bread. I'm not a big sandwich guy at the house. So I don't know if bread costs 50 cents still. Does it cost $17? I literally have no idea how much bread costs in 2019. But I will tell you this, I'm sure it's delicious. Musically, the best-selling song was Olivia Newton-John's Physical. Let's get physical. Yes, let's get into physical. Let me hear your body talk. Your body talk. Best-selling album of the year was Asia's self-titled album, which included Heat of the Moment. Great song. And the Grammy Awards for Best New Artist went to Men at Work with our friend Colin Hay. And the album that got the Grammy Award, Album of the Year, was Toto 4. But I'm going to be talking about Iron Maiden. Scream for me, Long Beach! We're going to be talking about Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden, an album that was produced by Martin Birch, went to number 33 on the Billboard charts. First album to feature Bruce Dickinson on vocal. Paul Di'Anno was on their first 2 albums. And then for whatever reason, they just weren't getting along. Paul may have had some substance situation going on. And Bruce came from a band called Samson, and he joined Iron Maiden. I think Samson may have opened up for Maiden, and they saw him and said, hey, do you want to join the band? Our guy's got a substance situation. So they had to replace him for this album. All the songs were either written or co-written by Steve Harris, who is an amazing bass player. Man, there's some great songs on this album. This is just chock full of hits. Run to the Hills, The Prisoner, which is based on the TV show The Prisoner, Hallowed Be Thy Name, which they still close out. I believe they close out all of their live shows still with that song. Children of the Damned, Children of the Damned, and of course the title track. Now, I don't know if it's because I had a love of the theatrical that attracted me to Iron Maiden. It really wasn't in my wheelhouse. I was a Chicago Journey, REO sort of Kiss sort of guy. And I think the Kiss is what bled over into this, because I saw the videos for Run to the Hills and the title track, Number of the Beast. And then I saw the album cover, and I was like, oh, I gotta know more about these guys. So I bought the album based on those 2 songs and an album cover. And I ended up getting it in this way. I had originally purchased Santana's Shango, which had the song Hold On it. And other than the song Hold On, boy, that album's a snooze, man. Wasn't for me. So I went to Discount Records, which was the record store near my house. A guy named Mark was the manager and owner. And I said, can I exchange this for store credit? Can I sell it back to you used? And he said, you know what, you're a good customer. Just go ahead and exchange it for any other album. And I'll just swap it out. So I immediately ran to the Eyes and grabbed the Iron Maiden Number of the Beast. And I brought it up, and Mark was like, You're exchanging Santana for Iron Maiden? And he goes, boy, that's a little too heavy for my tastes. And by the way, it could have been too heavy for my taste too. I knew the 2 songs. But I will tell you that, to this day, Iron Maiden is one of my favorite bands, and I've never bought another Santana album ever. Do I dislike Santana? No, I don't. In fact, I like them very much. I will tell you this, my wife hates them. Oh, does my wife hate Santana? She hates the sound of Carlos Santana guitar so much that if she was driving with the family in the car, she would probably murder us all into a telephone pole. That's how much she hates the sound of Carlos Santana's guitar. I like it. Not enough to buy another album, but I like it. Anyway, Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast. Scream for me, Internet! It is now time for this week's quick hit. It's an album track from David Johansen's live album, Live It Up. It is the Animals medley that features the songs We Gotta Get Out of This Place, Don't Bring Me Down, and It's My Life. He does all three of them. They call those medleys. Here's why this plays into Jimmy Pardo's life. I didn't really know David Johansen going into the summer of 1982, but MTV played the heck out of this video. And during breaks from band rehearsal. Yeah, that's right. I was in a band in 1982. I was the lead singer, driver of the Winnebago for a band called Rainbow Bridge. Now, let me tell you something about Rainbow Bridge. I wasn't good. The guitarist Paul was phenomenal. The bass player Mike was phenomenal. The keyboard player Jim was phenomenal. The drummer Brian was phenomenal. And they also went on to be in other bands. And they some toured with musicians and made money. I should have been fired every single day. I would come to rehearsal every day going, this is the day, because why would they tolerate my inability to sing rock music? And so that's why David Johansen changed everything for Rainbow Bridge. Here's why. David Johansen, of course, was in the New York Dolls. He then went on to be Buster Poindexter to everyone's confusion. I guess somebody enjoyed it, right? He had that pompadour, that Matt Belknap type pompadour. But he had that deep voice. I'm David Johansen. And I'm kind of a baritone, maybe a bass, and I was trying to sing Rush. So David Johansen, this Animals medley I said, hey, I could sing that. And it changed Rainbow Bridge as a band. And it let my voice open up, and I was able to sing more rock and roll than I thought I was able to prior to that. Because we did a lot of Chicago, which I can't hit Peter Cetera's, where we did a lot of UFO. I can't hit any of that. We did Judas Priest. I can't hit any of that. Why did I think I should be the lead singer of a band? But I had the heart, and I had the rehearsal space. I think that's really why I wasn't kicked out of it. That was one of the greatest summers of my life. And I know that's crazy to say, considering it now it's, what is that, 10, 15 years later. We played out. We did some live shows. And I was all, coming from the theater, my man, I was all about the theatrics. And we didn't really have a light show, per se. So I suggested, because I thought they would be inexpensive, instead of going out and getting big theater, lights or venue sort of lights, why don't we get those landscaping lights? The ones that you see on people's lawns that illuminate the bushes, the shrubs, the trees, that sort of thing. And there was a brand called Malibu, and that was the very popular brand at the time. And we priced them. They were out of our price range because we were, kids in high school that had little to no money. So one member of the band decided maybe it would be fun if we stole them off somebody's lawn. And the other band members didn't fight the one idiot that thought that was a good idea. That one guy who's kind of a decent human being that would never break any law? That guy is the one that had the idea. So Paul, the guitarist, and I would ride our bicycles around the neighborhood looking for lights that were easy to take in the middle of the night. And whenever we would see them, Paul would say, look at those. Those look like some screaming sucker Malibus. And like they had no idea, you're about to be ours. So the night came, we got the house, we scoped out the house. The night came for us to pull off the big heist, the Malibu Light heist of 1982. And one of these people got cold feet and couldn't do it. So that person stayed back at headquarters, HQ, that guy decided to call it, and that he would make sure that that person's parent didn't wake up. And if they did, I would explain where the other guys went to. So they went to this person's house, and they took this person's Malibu Lights, and then came back running in, gathered it all up with the cords and the lights and all that. And we then had lights for a light show. 1 year later, I thought it'd be very, very funny if we stole that person's lights again. And just the imagery of that guy coming out and going, "Oh, honey, they did it to us again." We didn't do that. I think we just talked about doing it, or maybe we did it, and I'm trying to block it out because, again, that person that came up with the idea is a decent human being. But I'll tell you what, if you wanted to see a light show where you saw beautifully illuminated shoes and socks, Rainbow Bridge was your band. That is this week's Jimmy's Records and Tapes. If you liked it, click like, subscribe. I am at Jimmy Pardo on Twitter, and of course I host the award-winning podcast, Never Not Funny. We'll see you next week on Jimmy's Records and Tapes. Until then, the record's back in the sleeve.